All right. Hey, everybody,
Hey.
and welcome to our latest episode. Again, for those who don't remember, I'm Roddy.
I'm Landy.
And in our series, we kind of share life in Mexico, what it's like to be a family, and we just kind of share our experiences, the good and bad, and the kind of everything that happens here in Mexico.
Mhm.
And today, I think, is a pretty important topic, especially for people who are considering moving to Mexico or maybe just moved here, which is having to deal with the rise in the value of the peso and inflation. So something that we kind of feel on a day to day, and I know a lot of people who live here and maybe on fixed incomes kind of feel a lot more. Right?
Yeah, and in the end of the video, we're also going to share with you what's our solution to solve this money problem.
Right.
And we share some, I think it's good tips to help people maybe that if something you never thought about. So watch to the end.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's kind of get started with our kind of daily. I guess we'll start with the peso, right? And how the drop in the dollar, or excuse me, the rise in the value of the peso, I guess really what it is, has kind of affected the exchange rate and how much money we get or can use.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so for example, I think we've kind of talked about it in the past about how much money do we tend to spend per month on average.
Yeah, like let's talk about exchange rates for people didn't have a very good idea about exchange rates. When last year, when we moved here and we bought a house here, we exchanged a huge amount of money. That time was literally 1 to 20. Let's say 1 to 20. Sometimes 1 to 21. That's a very good time.
Right.
And then now, since we moved back, we just saw the value keep dropping or the peso value keep going up. Now we saw just walk around on the street. We saw the money exchange kiosk.
Yeah.
Like 1 to 16.2.
Right.
Like that's super low.
Right.
And we saw people posted those posts in the Queretaro expat group. People always complain about the exchange rate. Sure, everybody should be aware.
Right.
That's 1 to 16.7, 1 to 16.5. Yeah, you can just Google search dollar to peso. You see the history.
And so again, this is kind of just affecting everybody in their day-to-day life, right?
Right.
Because they're kind of losing value. Like I said, I think before we were spending about $2,500 a month.
Yeah, I did a good the number work. So just let me explain this to you. You get a more clear idea how much money you really lose in the dollar. If before, let's say, I'm not talking about us. Okay, we talk about just most people in general. If your monthly cost of living is $1,500 USD a month, so when the exchange rate was 1 to 20, so that's equal to 30,000 pesos. Okay, and then now I'm using the exchange rate, which is 1 to 16.5. I don't want to use anything higher, but I like to be not too positive. so that's equal to your monthly spending $1,818. Okay, so you spend $318 more every month. I'm talking about the $1,500 cost of living. That's pretty low. One person after rent, insurance, everything, cost of living. So if your family spend $2,000 a month, that was equal to 40,000 peso a month. So that was $2,424 a month. And now, so now you spend before was 2,000. So sorry. So now you're at $2,424 a month. So that means you spend $424 more every month. That's a big number, $400.
And especially for people who are on fixed incomes,
right?
Even I would kind of consider ourselves kind of on a fixed income. We do have our rentals, but it's always kind of the same.
It's kind of fixed because we don't do really much extra work, and YouTube didn't really bring us much income, And so that was a number, very reality number, $400 more. Right. So let's go a little bit higher. For some family, they may spend $3,000 a month. They may have a family of 3 or 4 with kids. So that was equal to 60,000 peso a month. And now, for this exchange rate, you spend $3,636 a month.
Right.
So that's $636 a month, monthly extra.
Right. So I mean, you're looking.
That's a lot.
I think from what I heard, you kind of range between $400 or about $300 to $600.
Yeah, $300 to $600 a month.
Right. Ranging between $1,500 and $3,000 US dollars a month.
Right.
How much the dollar has lost in that time.
Yeah, especially I also broke down when you come to the majority spend every month, which is the rent. Rent normally will be 1/3 of the spending.
Yeah.
Right. That's a big part because most people don't have a house here. They have to rent.
Right.
So I just put a very basic, very average rent here in Queretaro, for example. If your rent was 16,000 peso a month, which is equal to $800 a month, right?
That was a year ago, right?
Yeah, it was a year ago when we started renting here. And then now you're going to spend $970 a month.
Oh.
So that's you pay $170
more
a month more on the rent, which is a big part.
Right.
And if your rent was $1,000 a month, which was 20,000 peso a month, so now you spend $1,212 a month, which you spend over $200 a month.
Wow.
So that's a day-to-day I break down for a reason. So you get a more clear picture where you spend more money.
Right.
Okay, let's even go a little bit deeper. Let's talk about grocery. Okay, every day-to-day shopping here, buy food there. Even before, let's say our budget was $500 a month for grocery shopping. Okay, so that was 10,000 peso a month. Now we're gonna spend $606 a month. So you spend $100 more every month.
Right.
So that's a day-to-day living. Or people like us have a car. Our guests, we spend about $200 a month.
Right.
Somewhere there.
And I think most has stayed the same. I think it's gone up a little bit, but not much.
But with the exchange rate, now we talk about we spend $242 a month. So that's $42 a month more. Right. So that's why I broke down. And for eating out, let's break down even smaller so you get a more clear picture. So let's say a meal of 2, we go out, we spend 500 peso. Okay, that's $25 before, 1 to 20. Right. But now we're gonna spend $30. So each meal we spend $5 more.
Sure. And over a period of a month, over a year, right? That does kind of add up. You go eat out 6 times, 10 times a month, right?
Right.
That makes a big difference.
Big difference, and we're gonna be careful choose.
Right.
So and I break down a little bit more for if people have kids. Like for daycare, we spend the price for our son go to the daycare. It's 4,500 peso a month, which was equal to $222 a month. But now $272. So we spend nearly $50 every month more for my son. So if you have bigger kids, teenager, go to high school, elementary school, let's say averagely 8,000 peso a month for international private school. Okay, so before was $400 a month, and now you're gonna pay $484 a month. So that's $84 every month you pay more for one kid.
Right, and I think the thing that people need to understand here, and it's a very good point, is that maybe if you take one of these categories by themselves, it doesn't sound so bad. But when you add school, plus gas, plus groceries, plus rent, right now you're talking hundreds of dollars.
Insurance, medical, I'm not even talking about those parts.
Right? So you add all that together, now you're losing hundreds, not maybe close to $1,000 a month, depending on your spending. Right? So that is a big chunk of money that you're losing in the exchange. Right, and so I guess would that kind of lead into inflation? I mean, as far as prices just even going up themselves.
Yeah, and also the inflation here it's getting a little bit better for certain items.
Sure.
Just we talk about for breakfast. Yeah. For our day-to-day living breakfast, we went to eat out. We saw the price change. We saw, right?
Oh yeah.
Even just for our economic kitchen here. You want to pick it up? This we can cut into the
economic kitchen.
Yeah, so even like, for example, our economic kitchen here, before we pay like 90 peso for a meal, I think that's called a pretty decent average lunch set. Includes a drink and a little dessert. Not bad. And now, how much was that last time we went? Like 110, 105 or 110?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just on your very basic everyday breakfast, right? Nothing fancy.
Right.
Like I think even like we went to La Llave the other time, which is a nice, considered restaurant, maybe mid-level.
I find it's already very equal to U.S. price.
Right. I mean, before, it was, again, maybe a breakfast was 160, 170, and now it's getting closer to about 200.
Right.
Right.
So that's why they say in Mexico the breakfast inflation was about 20%. Only breakfast.
Yeah.
And like avocado or those also price goes up. Day-to-day vegetable. Like today we went to see the potato.
Yeah, now I don't know if that's because it's seasonal or inflation or a combination of both.
That was just way high.
But like maybe even just a few weeks ago. That's why I think maybe it's seasonal.
Maybe seasonal.
It was about 25 pesos a kg.
Before.
And then today it was 40 pesos a kg.
Yeah.
And so almost close to double the price. For things like a basic common food like potato. Right? Again, we're not talking any exotic vegetable.
Right.
Very common every day. So can you imagine going one day, you feed your family, potato is a good staple food, it's a good filler, and you're paying 20, 25 pesos a kg. Now you're paying double. I mean, if you got a family of 4, 5, 6, that can, and again, add on top of all the other vegetables and meats, everything we've kind of seen gone up a little bit. Again, it's definitely going to hit people in the pocket.
Right.
And it's going to affect your bottom line. Right? So I think one of the things would be then is people need to kind of understand how they can kind of curb that spending or kind of how they can kind of equalize everything so they don't spend as much.
Maybe. Yeah, so I did find some solutions, share our experience.
Sure.
Like once we went to HEB supermarket to do some shopping, I was more like, hey, now the dollar lose about 15% value. That means we need to find items which contain 15% discount.
I think, and just in life.
Right, just in life. Right, that's how. But I was just joking. Like we need to find a discount item.
Yeah.
That's how we went through all the aisles. Like, hey, this juice is on sale.
Yeah.
Right before it was 25 peso. Now it's 18 peso. Let's get more.
Yeah, let's buy a little bit more.
Look at this vegetable. Before it was 25 peso a kg. Now 18. Let's get a little bit more for this week. But that's how you have to.
Right.
It's not being stingy or frugal, but that's a real life thing.
That's the reality of the situation we live in now.
Yeah, so that's why we towards to our next topic, how we save money to find a solution for this inflation and money exchange rate jobs.
Right. I mean, to still live comfortably.
Right.
And again, we're talking about this one. I think overall we still live a very comfortable life.
Right.
But again, you have to find those small sacrifices to make sure everything stays kind of the same, status quo.
So one thing we've been talking about, we should know about the market price.
Of what?
Of everything. Of everything. From the rent price to especially you go shopping. You know each meat price or vegetable price. You should have some idea.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, this vegetable price, why here is too much? Don't buy it. Don't buy it today. You buy some better price, buy some other items or some seasonal fruits.
Sure.
If you see the apple is 110 for half kg, you don't buy it.
Right.
Maybe you find some discounted item
for 60 or 50.
For 50. Like today, the real example, we saw the red mango. Red mango in La Gomera was 18 peso for 1 kg. Right. So we saw lots of women are choosing. This is what you follow. You follow some elder ladies. You find some deals. It's like in China, you follow some older Asian woman. You find the deals. and we went to the HEB. That was 36.
Yeah.
Right. The same mango. Yeah. So it's just a very different.
Right, and you have to kind of you
need to know
where everything the price is and how it varies. And again, is it worth it? Is it a big enough price variation to make that trip? Right? Or sometimes I know a lot of people are going to say, go to the mercado.
Not really
always
cheap.
Right? I think that's a common misconception. I think people always think the mercado is cheaper.
I think it really depends on which mercado. Like the Mercado La Cruz, which in the centro in Queretaro, everybody know that mercado. Everybody go there.
Sure.
That's how last time I was in the El Refugio Facebook group, the local Mexican people talk about, muy cala.
Yeah, it's very
which
expensive.
I understand is very expensive. Don't go there. Like now I know, like, okay, not everything is cheaper in mercado.
No, whether it's meats or vegetables. Yeah. Because we've seen things like, again, talking about tomatoes and bananas, garlics, right? Your common staple things, right? We've and some meats also.
Some meats.
Again, we've actually found better prices, like at the HEB, right? For meats, right? Or maybe our little local mercado here, it's at La Pradera. So again, some veggies are a little bit better, but we have noticed some are more expensive.
Some are more expensive. Like even banana is more expensive.
Right, the banana is more expensive.
Right.
The juice.
Oh, the juice.
Again, we went to HEB. We bought the juice for 18-20 today.
But
it kind of varied. And then the one I bought the other day, you saw the price. You're like, why did you buy that for? It was
I saw like a 35 peso. Like, what kind of juice you bought? But that was a cranberry.
Oh, the cranberry. But again, even today,
cheaper.
It was 30.
Yeah.
At HEB.
So even the banana in the small shop was 25.
Right.
Yeah, and today in the HEB was 16.
Right.
So for same amount of 25 peso, we buy more bananas.
Right. So again, don't get caught up in the misconception that the mercado is always cheaper. It's not. Now, again, I think you have to kind of, like I said, take into consideration, is it enough price variation to make the extra trip? Right, because if it's only 2 or 3 pesos more, again, you save gas time, then maybe it's just worth it to buy it there. But for some things, if you can find a big enough gap, right, or maybe it's on your way home, like I know sometimes the mercado in La Pradera is on the way home, then okay, maybe it's worth it to stop and pick up a couple of veggies and pieces of meat. Right?
Yeah. Number one, know your price, know your local market, where you can find a better deals. Another thing is if you see some food for sale on discount, get some.
Yeah, and maybe stock up a little bit.
You stock a little bit, like what do we do?
Right, because again, the next week it may not be on sale.
Right.
Right. So again, I think knowing your market is good. What else?
And another thing, shop smartly, buy discounted food. Next one, talk about eating out.
Sure.
That's always a big, huge amount of people spending all their money. Eat out. Yeah, I'm lazy today. I don't want to cook. Let's just grab some food.
Order in, Rappi, or what do you call it? Uber Eats.
Uber Eats. Those can be expensive.
Oh, absolutely.
It depends on which one you order.
Right. No, I'm just saying. So you have to. The price of the food has gone up, and you still got to pay for delivery.
Right. Some tips, some delivery fee.
Sure. So I think eating out less in general is a good way to kind of help curb that. Maybe if you go eat out 10 times a month, maybe cut it down to like 6.
Yeah.
Right.
And you really choose carefully where you go.
Right.
Like, okay, I can go out less, but I can pick some better restaurants and we really enjoy a good meal. Not just because I don't want to cook.
Right.
Let's go out for lunch. Like we normally eat some leftover from dinner or make some simple for our brunch, breakfast. Yeah, you just think about every day, Monday to Friday. Even we go out $10 a day for lunch, that's $50 right there.
Right.
You time a month, that's $200 more.
Right. And just for that example,
just for lunch,
you said that's $50 for 1 week. Right?
Yeah.
Right now at HEB, you said we spend about $90 in groceries.
Yeah, we spend about $90.
A lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have food lasts us until next week, I think.
Right, includes our lunch.
Right. So I mean, if you think about that, I mean, just one meal, a couple of meals for a whole week, and as compared to groceries for a whole entire week. I mean, so
I know eating out in Mexico is cheaper. Sure, somewhere between 30 to 50% cheaper, depends on where you go.
Sure.
But still, you add up. Normally, when things are cheaper, you try to spend more. Like, because it's cheap, so I go out more. But then you add up, it's very equal to where you spend in the U.S.
Sure.
So you go out more.
Right. Because I mean, the example could be like the gorditas we go eat there all the time. They're 25 pesos a piece, which is not bad.
Right, not bad.
I mean, they're pretty good size. Mm-hmm. They're nice and meaty. But again, that adds up over time. Or like you said, it's so cheap. I'm still a little bit hungry. Let me order one more.
Right. You order 3.
You order 3. Right. But again, that adds up.
And you order drink. Once you eat that, you order drink. You leave some tips.
Sure.
So it's also add up over $10 a meal.
So I think that's a pretty easy one to understand. I think people understand. You got to save a little bit of money, eat out a little bit less.
Yeah, and drink less.
Yeah,
especially you go to the nice or average restaurant. Let's get a beer. I want a cocktail. I want a mojito. I want a Mai Tai. Then you add up. Sometimes you don't even ask to see the menu. You just say, I want a mojito
it's
today.
Cheap.
You don't even know the price until you see the bill. What the heck? 150 peso for mojito?
Yeah.
You just don't know. Like, never assume everything's
cheaper.
Right.
And depending on where you go.
Really
again, just like knowing your market is like know your market when it comes to restaurants and stuff like that too, because different restaurants and bars are going to charge you different prices.
Yeah, and normally you don't order one drink. After one, what about another one? You want another one? When someone asks you want one more bottle? Sure.
One more before we leave.
Yeah, exactly. So that's also add up. And also, like, people go for coffee in the morning. You always see some younger ladies hold a coffee. It's just become a habit.
Yeah.
Right? It's also easily spent. Can you drink a coffee in your house?
Absolutely.
Sure. But it's become a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Like, I need a coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Or in the evening.
Yeah. I'll be honest, we don't buy coffee that much.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what would you guess like a Starbucks costs? I know that's kind of weird.
I think easily $2-3 for cheap coffee.
$2-3.
Right, for the Americano.
And for a good quality like ground coffee, you're going to spend about 200, maybe 210 to 220 pesos for a kg of coffee. Right. So again, how much coffee you're going to get out of that as compared to just your cup of coffee? Maybe 6, 7, 8 cups of coffee as compared to a whole bag where you can drink for the whole month or two.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's also the same. Yeah. Also, like you go to the restaurant, you order juice. The fresh juice also can be expensive
On the restaurants,
in the breakfast, a nice restaurant can easily cost you 70, 80 pesos for a small glass, maybe 355 ml.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to order that. Maybe you just go on the street. That's 25 peso. You can get the same size, 750 or 1 liter.
Yeah. Or 25, 30 pesos.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what we order, the fresh, like orange and carrot fresh juice.
Very nice. Right.
Yeah.
What else? So
another thing I wrote down here is cut some spending things. Like
luxury
spending. Oh yeah, the housekeeper is cheaper here, but still you add up. Even just come here twice a week or once a week, easily. It varies your house size, maybe 400 peso to 600 peso for 3 to 4 hours cleaning the house. Not includes cooking or laundry, normally not.
Right.
But anyway, that's from the nowadays exchange rate. Mm-hmm. Let's say 500 peso. Right.
So it was $25.
So let's just 30, somewhere about $30.
Right.
Then you times 4, right? That's $120 right there.
Right.
But maybe you need to cut to come once every 2 weeks. Maybe 1 week you do as a
learn how to clean the house.
Your exercise. You know, like I do. I mop the floor.
We sweep in the morning.
I use Roomba. I mop the floor once every week. For the weekend, I just do the housework with Louie, which is good for my son to learn some
good habits
to clean up the house. Don't make it too messy, but you're gonna clean this up.
Sure.
And for those parts, you can save some. Mm-hmm. And for some like a massage, massage here is cheaper.
Sure.
But still you add up.
Yeah.
Like how cheaper? Like in our area, maybe
we pay 400.
400, but double two is 800.
Yeah.
Right. So that's from nowadays also about $45.
Right. But it's still a good price. But it's
right.
It's learning to kind of take away those little creature comforts, and because again, you have to understand until things get back to normal, or they may not. They may be getting worse. So
right? So you don't have to go every week. Right. Maybe let's say once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks,
once a month,
or once a month, like we do. Like we go like once a month thing. Like you don't have to go every week. It's also getting too luxurious.
Right. And I think for people like us, we have our little dogs. Which do have to be groomed.
Oh, the groom and wash. But do you really have to send the dog to the groomer once every month? Maybe not really. Like we
wash them ourselves.
I wash them in our backyard in the middle of the day after putting them out. They got to clean and dry.
Yeah, and then we just trim them. They do need to be trimmed, and again, that's something that, especially here with Dusty, it gets hot in the summer and stuff. Yeah. But again, instead of every month, maybe every month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, maybe every 2 months, every 3 months, depends on the season.
Or depends on the season, right? Especially during the winter, you can let the hair grow a little bit longer.
Right.
So those little creature comforts, and I'm sure there's other ones we forgot, but those are little creature comforts to get rid of.
Those small things.
Yeah.
Another thing is, if really the money got an issue, rent cheaper places.
Sure.
You need to find another house or another condo, another location.
Downsize, different location.
Right. Maybe too much room for you. If you are only alone, or you and your girlfriend or wife, you don't need that much space.
Right.
Cut down a little bit.
Right. Cut down a little smaller.
Yeah.
Or like to change areas.
Change
area, just like any place in the world, different location. Are you going to pay more? So if you really like the space, right? And you're like, no, I really like my space, even if it's just me or like me and my spouse. But again, maybe you move location, and you can kind of balance out, the price. So again, consider moving to a different location, right?
Right. Another thing I put is travel less, or travel on more budget.
Sure.
Instead of staying in the high-end Airbnb or hotel, maybe a little bit lower, just comfortable level, clean level will be fine.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't need to rent always a big, nice house for Airbnb. Maybe just the $40, $30 a night can work.
Right. And again, that could vary, I guess, maybe depending on the length of your stay. Yeah, for a short stay, sure. Because when you're on vacation, your whole idea is to go out and enjoy, right? So you don't really need to stay in your place that much. Again, I think like last time we spent for a whole month, maybe you bump up a little bit more because you're going to be there a long time.
Yeah.
But so I think it depends on your stay. But learn how to travel smarter.
Travel smarter, and also avoid some high season when the price is higher. Try to travel in the lower season.
It may be hotter, but
it really depends where you go.
Yeah.
Another thing is also about moving to different location. If place like Mexico City or Queretaro, Puerto Vallarta is getting too much cost of living, well, there are still more lower cost of living places in Mexico.
There's smaller towns or less known places, right? I'll just throw some out there as an example, like maybe the San Cristobal, which like in Chiapas, I know is very popular.
Agua Caliente, people talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, there's
more places.
There's so many places in Mexico that we probably even haven't that we haven't even heard about, and other people have. Or again, there's just people tend to get stuck to the idea of go to the big kind of well-known cities. I mean, even Queretaro is not that well known, but it's still becoming more popular. Like you said, all the beach towns in Mexico City. Those are the Oaxaca. I think is even getting a little pricey now.
Right.
If you go out to the suburbs or the little smaller towns, the surrounding towns, you can definitely save a little bit of money.
Even just in the same town, we talk about the change of location. Even we live in Querétaro, Central is getting more expensive. I spend $1,500 a month for the rent. You can move to a small area. Like there are so many surrounding smaller towns or smaller neighborhoods. You can find a cheaper rent.
On the outside. And I think sometimes what holds people back, I'll make an assumption here, is that safety or driving. They feel they have to be kind of stuck in Central or close to it because they don't have a mode of transportation.
Maybe a little bit outside of the Central. Still walkable to the Central.
Outside of Central, right? On the edge.
Yeah.
Right? Moving location is always a good idea too.
Yeah.
What else?
Another thing, it's about exchange money. Well, I'll let you talk about it.
What do you mean?
Exchange money at a better exchange rate time, which would be like a Monday or Friday. I forgot.
Oh, that I don't know.
Right.
I think that's even above me. But I know one thing you can do, like if you go to the bank and you're new here, and you're still using like your U.S. bank card, is you have to learn how to decline the conversion. Right. When you kind of go through, you put your PIN number in. They're going to ask you how much money you want. They're going to ask you for donations. And then they're going to give you the very first time they're going to give you an exchange rate. And usually it's pretty bad. Like I said, I was telling you last time, I think they gave me like a 14 or 15 peso to the dollar conversion rate. You have to look on the very bottom left, right? And it says decline conversion. Decline it all the time, right? Because once I learned that, maybe our 5th or 6th months here when we first moved here, and again, even back then I was saving us a couple $100 like a month.
Yeah.
In a month. So you can imagine now, right? You see it, you take, okay, that's the exchange rate for the bank, right? Push it. No, if you decline it, they're going to give you much more. Again, they're giving you the bank conversion rate. So again, the bank's going to make a little bit of money from that conversion. You decline it, they're going to give you more standard rate. So again, it went from like 14 or 15 pesos to the dollar to the more standard, 16 and a half, which again, that can save you also, depending on the amount you withdraw, can save you hundreds of dollars per withdrawal. So again, when you go to the bank to withdraw money with a U.S. bank card, again, every screen, I think, I don't want to tell you which screen it is because I forget, but just always be very aware. Look on the bottom left corner and it'll say decline conversion.
Bottom left corner.
Decline it. Every time.
Every time. And also choose wisely which ATM or which bank you go.
That's true too. Just an example, last time we went, when I used my Mexican bank card, there was one bank, it's a smaller bank. And whenever you use theirs, ATM, it gets like 34 pesos, for their fee, but with a local card. I went last time. I was like, okay, whatever, it's 34 pesos. The Mexican card, I went there with my U.S. bank card. They wanted to charge us 160 pesos. Remember I told you?
Yeah, you told me.
I think it was maybe 140 or 160, 140 to 160 pesos. That was their usage fee because I had American. I was like, no. I was like, forget that.
No,
Because I knew the ATM next to it, which is a Banorte, I know they, no matter what card you use, whether it's a local card or U.S. card or Canadian card, their fee was still 34 pesos, right? So be aware. A good fee that they should charge is about 30 to 40 pesos. If it's in that range, you're okay. If they start charging you 80, 100 plus pesos for their convenience fee, no, find another ATM.
Right.
Right. Again, that makes a big difference.
Right. And they also always exchange money when the exchange rate is better.
Yeah, you can learn how to, like on Wise, what we use, you can set up the alarms. You can set up
alarms.
Whenever the conversion rate hit a certain point. But again, right now they all kind of seem to be going down.
Let's go down. Let's go up a little bit.
Maybe up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that was Monday. Monday morning normally it's better. Friday afternoon it's always like drop a little bit. Somewhere there because when we bought a house we were looking at the exchange rate a lot.
Oh yeah.
Normally Monday morning it's better.
It was a better time.
Yeah. So if you have a huge around $1, you hit the little bit higher spot, maybe you want to consider exchange a big amount.
Right. Yeah. Like so, if you're looking to buy a car or a house or any big appliances with all cash, you may want to set that alarm to save you every dollar you can.
Yeah. Another thing also about the shopping. I think I forgot to say that not just grocery shopping. If you buy day-to-day clothing or items, electronic items, just check some local store, like the ones we always buy.
Del Sol, whatever.
Yeah, like like a Gobel, Del Sol, which is the local shop, and they sell better price for clothing, for
which actually I found out for all you people who are my age or maybe older. The Del Sol here, I think, is owned by the old American company Woolworth. Again, doesn't exist in U.S. anymore, but I've seen I've seen the Woolworth sign, and I'm like, oh wow, which is an old American brand.
Right. Another thing, of course, I think most people already know. If you want to buy something or sell something, go to Facebook Marketplace, buy some used items, can be cheaper. You don't need everything brand new for the kids or for ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think a final thing I want to say: make more money. If you can, if you are capable to, if you want to, there's always different ways to make some money on the side, some side hustle, to cover those couple of $100 difference.
But and then I guess you have to take into consideration: is your time worth the money?
Yeah, is maybe the time worth the money? If people feel yes, then do it.
Then do it. Right. Yeah. And again, we won't get into the options there because I mean, there's online. Working English teacher, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, there's so many
things.
So many extra things you could find. If you really want to, you can find.
So yeah, if you're really tight and you're really finding that you're stretching the dollar, sure, get some extra income, make some extra work. But again, for those who feel they're pretty comfortable, then that kind of becomes your choice.
Yeah.
Right. Time for money.
And other people's solution, they always talk about, should we move to another country?
Oh yeah. Right. And again, that could be a whole other episode.
Yeah. I think people talk about it.
Sure. Because Mexico is becoming a little bit more, again, the prices, the pesos are raising, so they're getting less exchange rate. And there's always your traditional places, there's your Thailands and Vietnams, or if you want to stay in Central and South America, Ecuador, I know it's pretty popular. Panama is also becoming very popular. I think I was reading up one article, I think last year Panama became like according to one magazine, like the number one place to retire was Panama. And again, there's other places. I think I was looking online and I put cheapest places to live in the world. Now again, if that's your thing, cheapest place in the world to go live, Afghanistan, Pakistan, if that's your thing. I mean, they're talking like $400 a month to live there. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, there are many places about which is comfortable for everyone.
Sure. Yeah. Right. So you have to find your comfort level and where to go. Again, some maybe nowadays Vietnam, Malaysia, those places may be cheaper. Yeah. But you have to take it into consideration.
The traffic.
The travel.
The flights are expensive.
Very, right. And then do you have to come back? Are you okay with going over there and staying there for a long period of time, for 1 year, 2 years? Yeah. Because you're not that connected to family back here? Or are you a person who's very connected to your family and want to see them all the time and you're going to make 2 or 3 trips a year? Then it'll kind of offset your cost. Sure. Right? And then it becomes better to stay in Mexico or somewhere here, at least in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. Right. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Are you still consider moving to Mexico? Is the money issue will be your issues? What's your solution?
Right. Exactly. I think what are other people's solutions out there? What are you doing to kind of stretch the dollar? Again, is this what we went over? I don't think it's everything, but I think it's a good kind of general idea of what ways you can save money and kind of how to stretch that dollar. But again, let us know what you think. Anything else? If not, we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.